Oh man, it's Big Heckies with me. I like this. I like this conversation because it kind of misses the point. Like, if you start making robots take care of robots, you're getting dangerously close to a situation where you kind of need to have a self-maintaining economy, aka a not economy. Because at that point, things are going to get funky for everyone involved. Aren't there like laws that you can't be forced to train your own replacement? I remember there being laws for that, of some sorts. Like you can't be forced to train your own you can't be forced to put yourself out of a job really. Um, because one, that'd be super fucking shady. But would that also extend to robots? Like, if you would that law also hold up? Like, hey, listen, you forced me to make a robot that puts me out of business. I think he's just like recommending like, yeah, do some exercises, because isn't FR like the black military guy? Yeah, he'd probably be like, hey, I know a couple of ways, and just makes you do sit-ups the whole time. You're like, ah, it's so hot. Why is this room still hot? Yeah. So this I don't like. So I'm gonna change this to Miss Otomo for a change. Like, because by this point, wouldn't they be, Because it would make more sense if it's like, okay, you don't want coffee today? Like, Izumi always drinks coffee, and immediately then the player's like, ooh. I like how Heinz is such a... I don't know, man. Like, I feel these characters are underdeveloped for how fast they get killed off. Like, there's an ancient Chinese rule. If you kill someone off too quickly, the only way you can pull it off is... But I don't know. You gotta know what you're doing. In a second, we're gonna get a really gruesome picture that I kind of just want to show off right now, actually. For some reason, there's two versions. I think one of these is just massive compared to the other. My God! I like how his eyes are open. We got... Let me just put this in a bit smaller. There we go. So, original Izumi has dark hair. How did he get his... Oh, yeah, because he was, yeah. I like how he's off-screen in such a way it's like, okay. Let's travel on reflections, though. They look really good. Except, nah. Good job on the injuries, though. The injuries are well done. It's kind of... I don't know how to read the space, but... He's missing his cap. Man, why would you want to work in such a sterile space? I'd go freaking nuts. Like, how do they keep the morale up this much? Wouldn't these people be like, man, I kind of hate this? Wait, wow, he says that line twice. So here's a writing tip. Unless you're doing this for a certain type of effect, don't repeat lines that frequently. Minor writer tip, but it can help a lot with making your text sound less mechanical, because now he sounds like a robot. Wow, you must be pretty old then. Which says a lot about... For one, it means he's probably pretty old, or this is not that far into the future. My dad recalls having to actually type his own reports, so there you go. I can't imagine. I literally can't imagine. It sounds terrible. I changed it a bit because it makes it sound mad. It was like, Mr. Foreman, the meeting. So, it's never explained why he coughs. It's implied that he might be poisoned, but at the same time, like, what happened to Heinz? Does he actually just have, like, diabetes or something? Or some sort of allergy? Because it's never made clear. Wow, why don't they just have... Wouldn't they have, like, an automatic injector for this? Because this sounds pretty serious. So what exactly was Izumi's plan? Like, if she poisoned them, it would have been more effective, because at least Francois would have been in the picture? Because it's really a situation of get rid of Francois first. Izumi, your plan sucks. Like, this guy's military. Prioritize your victims. I guess, I get that the point is that someone has to assault Izumi so that the dragon shows up and there's a reason for it to like dragons, but I don't know. Like, Sybil feels like the kind of person that would have run away and gotten herself killed. Wouldn't that be a greater story? Like, Sybil runs off and just gets herself killed in the wilderness. As the dragon kills Francois. Oh, whoops. I'm adding this line of, like, he said nothing. Just to pad out the runtime a bit and gives this, like, give this spookiness to it. Draw attention to it. The fact that he says nothing really establishes his character more than anything. So I actually added here he was a military. Like, just establishing that, don't forget, this guy's a military. I guess that the picture says enough, but kind of establish this fact. Because it really feels like the kind of thing you want to draw attention to. Just to kind of like establish, like, this was not a poorly thought out plan. So most of what happens here is just, leather. Used for a lot of things, really. I mean, I imagine Francois would have just taken her hostage. Like, been like, hey, we're taking a captive of, like, okay, guess what, motherfucker, you're not getting off easy. Imagine he's the kind of person who knows how to choke someone out. Like, he actually does get to that point. So he would possibly have let go anyway. Or maybe he let go, like, right at that point because, like, a dragon shows up and he was still... I don't know. You can do a lot with this. So, another thing that I don't like... So don't forget that Earth gets destroyed. Which means that if Izumi reestablishes contact, it might be too late. Which means that she doesn't really sit in the time limit, which is weird that she doesn't mention that at this point. I'd like the original... Like, this part kind of ruins Izumi's original angle to me. Like, I just like it that she was just like, well, shit was fucked up and I've decided to reestablish society. Which is weird, because at this point, she's like, that comes later. I don't know, it just... it feels like you could have aligned it better. It made it more interesting. I actually added a line, and still I woke up. I mean, I'm still here to tell you this, but you know what I mean. Just a little like Izumi sass to spice up the process a bit, because she's getting very cut and dry. I mean, you could make the point that she's cut and dry over time, but you can still add like that tiny, like, that, just a little pinch, you know, a little pinch of her personality peeking through. Because this is unique. Like, this is like the first time. Give it that pinch. Give it that pinch. But how technologically advanced were they? Yeah, this doesn't make sense in this context. Still cute that this shows up. So Izumi normal 7 is the one that's used for this. So her hair does actually, like... But the weird part is she goes back in time, right? So couldn't she just give all her information to the old Izumi and then cut herself off? Like, does she have to keep living, is a question. Oh wow, this is actually a really good song for this. So this implies that there's only one... Or... So, is there only one body? Because I guess I read this wrong. I guess there's only one body. So, it's kind of implied... Oh, no, no, no. So it's implied that there's one timeline, really. There can only be one timeline if there's this many bodies. Because otherwise they'd all be buried one at a time in different timelines. Like one, only one, and that's the one that went back. Unless multiple can go into the same timeline, in which case Izumi's a very busy girl. Man, this song is really good. Ooh. It's interesting that she doesn't mention Reza, despite it being very strongly implied that Reza may be buried there too, if this is like a universal timeline. Oh, this is interesting. That's an interesting detail that I didn't quite catch up on. And I got a little line here. Sometimes that's just how it goes, apparently. Because she doesn't fucking know. I like to imagine she walks as the person that goes, hey, where the fuck is player name? And they're like, what? Oh, he died. It's like, whoop. But that implies they're bandits. Like, what is going on in the world? It's not established. What are dragons gonna do? Nah. So, this implies there's one Izumi, which makes no sense, because Izumi fucking dies and doesn't go through the portal, so it's not her. She also doesn't... I think the best option is Izumi has been with the portal so much that she's like the weakest. Like, Izumi is the one that remembers the most because she's most involved in the project. Or maybe she goes back in time with you always, in some fashion. I don't know. I'm changing this next line a bit, just to give it a little bit more edge. Next time... Wow, we're almost done, huh? Well, at least we're out of the flashback, which really... Again, terrible part of the story. Not poorly written, just... Should have been somewhere else. Should have been done in a different way. Like, I understand that they wouldn't make it earlier because it's like, okay, now we're done. But at the same time, it's like, what did you really do? Like, Izumi doesn't know that you succeeded. To Izumi, this is a failed timeline, isn't it? Like, how did you succeed? How did we win?